Hey, welcome back everybody. Did a little bit off camera, not too terribly much. I did a lot of mining in here to build up resources, as you can see by the fact there's no more ramp up. Uh, I'm going to take this down to pick up the rubble from the crashed one that I tried to bring in, and I'm going to bring it up for scrap, essentially. Because I really want to do an iron run, but I wanted to finish 3 drills on the front of this, but given with stone to produce enough panels for everything, it is taking a while. So I am going to bring this up, change the settings on the build bots, and scrap what's left of whatever I can get. I was hoping some of the thrusters are still intact, but it doesn't look like too terribly much of them are. Okay, so we can support its weight. Unfortunately, on those two, it's not much. Better go before the thrusters continuously burn everything. If you've never played Space Engineers 1, you should really play it. And 2, you go through the steel plates like mad. Okay. Okay, so we need the build, and we take it off the neutral and set it just to grind to destroy. Help it along a little bit. Don't want any big pieces falling down on us. It's a shame that we weren't able to save the entire thing, but live and learn. I should have turned the bots off of grind before I was coming back. I was in the process of grinding down and replacing the magnetic plates like you saw me do on the other one so that it could lock into place, and it took down to disable some of the thrusters, so I pretty much only had upward thrust on half the ship and no directional thrust, so I went over and off the cliff. So that one was a my bad moment, but at least we still got some resources out of it. Enough that I should be able to finish those new type of drills on the front of the other ship. Okay, nothing more should be a threat to the base. How's our cargo doing? Pretty good. Throw another one down. Gotta love how quick the bots do it. Okay. Now, Sweet, they are all done. All I did was grind down one of the plates down here, put it, and extended it out a little bit, so that hopefully this won't be too much problem. It's not the best, because obviously I won't be able to mine in tight areas, but... that had me worried a little bit. Let's go and get us some iron. And see, there's another wandering merchant over there, but now they're hostile. Unless it has an escort, it's not too big of a problem since these things aren't armed, but going after it pretty much just be resources at this point. I mean, I could always slap a merge block down and merge the two ships to one, but I'd have to do so much modifications to deal with the different thrusters. It would be probably better just to grind it down to nothing. But these are part of a recent update. I like the way they look. Maybe once we actually have some weapons, which we'll need to grab some magnesium for that, we'll be able to go and take the ore processing station, which that one has to be a really small station. I mean, as we've seen, but I doubt it's going to have too terribly much in it. The ore processing station I'm used to was kind of reminded me of what a oil rig looks like in size and design. So instead of going down to the hole that we mined by hand, I'm going to try to right click and clear a big enough area that I can get into the iron with the ship. It would have been nice to have more drills, but with the limited resources, 3 was already sucking up a gigantic amount. As always, that is my dog in the background. He's mad that I kicked him out of the chair. He wouldn't lay down so I could actually see the screen, so I made him get down and go over to the couch. Which you would think, having an entire couch full of toys to himself would make him happy. Well, don't do that, dummy. He's still a puppy. He's almost 2. Almost. Now, I don't know what this thing could handle for capacity before the thrusters start getting taxed, so... See, I've already gotten way more iron than I would have gotten with the same amount of stone, binding it by hand, and this is way quicker. So I think we will call that a successful mining trip. See, we're going up a lot slower. We could really use a couple more thrusters for up, especially since I've actually added a couple more cargo containers, as you guys saw. I think that was that ice rock that we had found. It was either that rock or it was one that was over there. And we should really get more batteries or maybe a couple solar panels strapped to the top of this, because I think we have like 4 or 5 batteries, but when we're flying, we, as you can see on the bottom right hand side of the screen, we only have 42 minutes left. So, especially being heavy running ore, it's not going to last too terribly long, and the base doesn't exactly have the excess power to charge the ship either. We have those cluster batteries, but we don't have enough solar panels that it's actually really getting a charge. So it's just very slowly depleting. That shaking's from my dog. He's backed up against the chair and he's scratching. And trying to insist on coming up. But I know if I let him come up, he's gonna sit instead of laying down, and he is a big puppy. And unfortunately, we have not set up any connectors yet, so we'll have to offload everything by hand. But as you see, we took out the store on this and put some stairs so that it takes a running jump if you're on foot, but we can, as long as we're on the ground, get back up to here if we run out of hydrogen when we are out. Which won't be likely since this thing has O2 generators completely full of ice. But it's always good to have backups. See if it's even done with all that cobalt. If you guys remember, we didn't even bring back much of it. Yeah, it finally is. Cobalt takes forever to smelt. Yeah, I didn't figure that was gonna work. I was hoping I could drop it and the bots would pick it up quick enough, but I think I'd need a trench under us for it to drop into. But thankfully with what we bring back, this will go a long ways towards getting us some plates built up. Obviously we need everything, but steel plates are going to be kind of the foundation on everything, really. And, well, literally. It's just this small amount. One, it's gonna take a little bit to go through, but it's gonna go a long ways to help. So eventually, I would love to start kind of building the actual base, getting everything more organized instead of everything clumped together, because I want to go down and partially in, so that like we can have some large storage containers. Startled me a little bit. Large storage containers hidden inside, so that when we get attacked, we don't lose everything, and then maybe have some nice enclosed windowed areas looking out of the cliff face. Which is another thing that the mods me and my brother play with help with, is the fact of they add a lot more things, like more options for the round corridors that they added to the game, more window pieces a bit. Not too terribly much for the window, but it adds more options for the LCD panels and everything. Just a lot of aesthetically pleasing components are added into it with some of the mods we have, like the graphics revamped mod, which, as I mentioned in the earlier video, adds a lot. I was gonna ignore it, but if it's flying right at us, I mean, it's just asking to get raided. We can end up covering it back up later with some paneling, but I think I'm gonna open this up so I can like drop the ship down into it, or at least into the bowl a little bit, so that it doesn't roll and everything when we're tearing it apart. Don't mind that, I'm just abusing the only ship I have. Those lights you see traveling back and forth, that's the build and repair bots. Okay, I got plenty of hydrogen. Let's hope that it isn't a trap, because with some of the recent updates they've done, that is a possibility. Some of the times you'll get close to doing something, and they'll either send out a distress signal, or it will have been a trap the entire time, and the moment you get close, the other factions that are allied with it will pop over. And me and my brother did one when we were doing our co-op. We lost every single ship that we had. Oh god, they're spinning. They're trying to dislodge us. It gets dizzying when they do that. If this thing keeps rising like this, we're gonna exit the atmosphere, and this thing doesn't have ion or hydrogen thrust. I gotta get a better grinder. Wait, I don't have control of it. I took out the... Do I have to fully grind it down? Either that, or we might have risen too high for the thrusters to actually do anything. No, they're working. I just don't have any access to control it, which is weird. This Because in the last two, including the crashed one, we got access the moment we were in the cockpit. There we go, get rid of that. Now we're just spinning. Well, that sucks. Oh, God. Well, that didn't go according to plan at all. Now, where is home? It's weird, after I took out the remote control and then ground down the cockpit, I should have had thruster control. I wouldn't have been able to change anything inside the control panel, but I should have been able to use the thrusters. That sucks. That could have been a good amount of resources just from the thrusters alone. The upgrades on ours would have literally paid for themselves. In case any of you didn't watch the last one and are wondering about the rover, I have it safely hidden down in here. I think I need to grab them. Oops, got too close to that piece. Just want to take away a little bit so it's not poking through the foundation. Gotta wait for it to take care of the stone. There. Nice little walking room. So we can have it produce a little bit of other stuff. And then have it go back to producing. Oh no. Damn it. That's what I hate about having too big of gyros, or too many gyros on a really lightweight build. The tiniest of movements you can jerk around, and don't quite understand how the O2 generators are the ones that are damaged. When it was the drills that made impact, but looks like it got the thrusters. How many gyros are on this thing? Are they both on? Yeah. Let's turn off one of those. See, even with one, it can spin on a dime. Still rolling pretty quickly. Show the comparison. See how quickly everything does? Especially when empty, it really doesn't need the two gyros both being on. And another thing about gyros is they weigh a lot. So like if you're building a large grid ship, I see there's one of those little zombie ones. I was sorry, dog's on my arm. That's one of the little zombie ones I was talking about. Especially since we lost our gun. The best way to handle them would be either using the grinder to kill them, or if you can do it without killing yourself, ramming into them. But that one is a very finicky one, because you can kill yourself in the process. But they take a bit to kill you, so you could always just stand there and grind at them, especially if you have a higher tier grinder. Which unfortunately we do not. But they don't have too terribly much health. But they will have, I guess we're in the bots range. They have some components inside their inventory. The only downside about opening up the top with the right click from that is later on when we actually use it to build, if we use it to build, we'll have to cover it with plating so that they can't just shoot down in. But if we're bringing ships back to disassemble, it'll be nice to have a little cubby to put them in. The last thing you want to do when you're drilling stuff away is leave tiny little slivers, because even if it's about the size of like a marble, it will destroy your ship if you fly into it. It'll act just like it is a complete piece. And looks like we went through all of that iron. So we have 47,000 ingots. And we brought back a little over 80,000 ore. And then a bunch of stone. Speaking of which, I think there was still a component or two down here from the crashed ship. But we might have... The entity list might have deleted it. Because I was still in it when it crashed down here. And I remember the cockpit was still intact, but it was detached from the rest of the ship. So is everything is back in shape. We are going to go out and grab some magnesium. If we want to make any Gatling ammo, we are going to need it. And the quicker we get up at least 1 or 2 turrets, the better. May not be able to take out a ship, but we can turn the Gatling turrets on to shoot missiles, so that hopefully we don't just lose everything in one attack. Like from that. The gremlins are usually armed to the teeth. First time I actually saw one of those was when I was watching one of Splitsy's challenge series. They put in place all these different things. Like, one I watched was they had no control station, like no seats, no cockpits, no control station, none of that. The only way that you could control your rover, because they were doing without ships at the time, was using stuff like button panels. Or in the case of his one friend, he pretty much set up like a dance platform on their rover. Did surprisingly well. If you guys haven't or don't watch his channel, you should really look Splitsy up for Space Engineers. I haven't watched any of his other stuff, but his Space Engineers one is really good, and I think that that is coming straight for us. Which means we should get a hole dug. Because this thing doesn't have a single weapon. Once I get the chance, I am adding more drills to this thing. If only for a couple ones in the back, on the side I should say, like right there on the wing, so that I can right-click drill and get into a hole quicker. Pushed my thrusters a little too much. Once we get even just a little bit of magnesium. Okay, we got 5,000. That's enough for now. We gotta get out of here. We don't have the thrusters for this, and that thing is right above. I'm fairly certain it's going towards whatever ground installation it is, but we don't want to be anywhere close for it to notice us, because they won't just go off of your beacon or antenna signals. They can go off of activity just by if they see enough movement, they can come after you, and it is not fun having them hound you, because if you have some, like a base too close by, they will go straight to it as well. And it seems we are in the middle of a flight path for a couple different factions. That one and the military faction. I noticed them flying around a lot. And especially the military, we do not want to piss them off. I also got to get some more thrusters facing forward. That's what was happening when we were just mining, was we were angled too much to where the thrusters that we had for the front were not capable of keeping us steady, and we were starting to fall forward. So they have 4 pushing us, but only 2 pushing back. But I think once we land, I will probably call it for the night. Because for me, it is just shy of 9, and unfortunately, I got work in the morning. May have looked hard, but I wanted to get all 4. Did more damage than I thought for the bots to have to constantly be coming back and forth. Oh, I damaged the beams surrounding the cockpit. There's one really nice thing about the build and repair bots. You can come and park your ship, and as long as you have the resources, you do not have to worry about patching it or forgetting to patch it up. How much life do the batteries got? 5 hours until they're depleted. I think that's something for next video, or in between, is to either get more solar panels set up or maybe a wind turbine. Unless we can find a ship or a station that isn't too heavily guarded, that has a reactor in it, and we can steal its components, that would really spring us forward. Either way, I think that's where we're going to end it. I hope you guys have all enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one.